are listening to and watching Leverage, the podcast about power, politics, and influence. I'm Kristal Taylor.
And I'm Breon Wells.
And we are here live at the Black Millennial Convention, DC adjacent. We're in Crystal City?
Correct.
Right, at the Hyatt Regency, Crystal City. Here for the whole weekend, pretty much. Lively, exciting time, and we'll be doing updates throughout the conference experience. But to kick off our experience here at the Black Millennial Political Convention, Breon and I have an important announcement for you all. This is what?
Our friendiversary.
So Breon and I actually first met each other last year at the first ever Black Millennial Political Convention.
Yep.
And this is where I think like the idea was even born for us to do a podcast, to collaborate, because we had this concept that like, oh my gosh, we know each other, but we didn't know each other.
Right.
It's like we're family from other mothers, fathers, sisters, brothers.
We do have to give a shout out to Ebony Riley.
Yes,
because Ebony Riley at National Action Network.
Applause for Ebony.
And she said, you all need to know each other. And we've been twins ever since.
Y'all could clearly see we actually look alike. So we're
correct.
Deep twins, and we're identical.
Equally as wealthy, you know.
I feel like you ballin'. Okay, I'm on that Walmart Target. You the Warbly Parker.
Don't believe the hype.
Fancy swag.
Do not believe the hype.
Swagnificence. Swag something.
Swagnificent?
Yeah, swagnificence.
That's the word of the day?
That is the word of the day. Where's the Reverend at?
The Great Reverend.
The Great Reverend. Okay, so I think we should chat a little bit, real quickly, about why we're here at the Black Millennial Convention. What made you want to come back this year, Breon?
So, not to be cheesy, but really, like, this was where you and I met, and we had a meeting of the minds, and next thing you knew, we had a podcast where we were trying to make sure that everybody found their inner advocate, right?
Yeah.
And so, I think, especially given this election, and that millennials make up the largest voting bloc, and millennials of color, and that's what everyone's focusing on, I didn't think we should be any other space than here, really just trying to take this message, rally the troops. So, you know, this is a first where we're actually being able to live stream this podcast together. Because
we never get to see each other, like, for real.
Right, we see each other over, like, the
Google
camera.
Hangout. Or, wait, no, we're not endorsing anybody. We use web-based platforms.
This could be you for the right price. Endorsements.
No, I mean, I think you're spot on. Like, something that is really interesting to me about this conference is I feel like, especially in this climate, this is where hope is. There's so much good energy. Like, we had two young ladies earlier who were talking to us who were so excited.
Yep.
About,
college,
like,
junior and seniors.
College,
rising
junior and
seniors.
And they're enthusiastic about politics, about public policy. They want to figure out how they can impact that, this world and make it a better place. And so, contrary to what I think, folks, and we the old ennials. We can't even say millennials for real. We the Well, no. You might be squarely
ourselves.
A millennial. I'm an old ennial. No, you an old ennial too?
Yeah.
Okay.
We're not going to typify and put a number to the years, but we are close in age.
Okay, I like that. Listen, so we are going to be old ennials, but I mean, it's like just the energy that's here and the passion. And I think the possibility of tapping into new audiences where folks want to know how to create change, but they don't know what that looks like, right? And so I think the platform that Wes Bellamy and Leah Webb and like all the amazing people, Wakenya Clinton, Adjua, Jewel James, like all the amazing people who have been participating to make this Black Millennial Convention a reality is like so clutch. Oh, and here goes one.
The Wes Bellamy.
The Wes Bellamy. Come slide up in through here.
Man, y'all
for the
got
good
nice
people.
mics.
See, you got
y'all
nice
got nice microphones.
Here, share some seats with us.
Yeah,
share
man.
some seats. Let's get off these cords. So look,
y'all got some nice stuff.
This is the anti-Trump wealth gap, that we making up for.
So, for anybody in our audience who possibly does not know who the Wes Bellamy is,
out of the one and only Charlottesville,
Virginia. Look, now while some say there are good people on many sides, we know that Wes Bellamy
rebuke
is
that.
for real one of the good people on the side that counts.
We rebuke the other stuff.
Everything else. Rebuke everything else. So look, Wes, we're kicking off the conference and everything.
Yes.
Tell us, like, real quick, why was it so important for y'all to create this space, to create the Black Millennial Convention?
Well, first of all, we would be remiss if we didn't give a special shout out to NFLUENCE for being a supporter and believer in the Black Millennial Convention, literally from day one. Like, from the time in which we've had this idea, you guys have been supportive, and just to see you all grow and blossom has also been beautiful. I just ate some barbecue chips, so I'm not trying to be all like in Kristal face.
That's why I'm hungry.
Yeah, I ate some barbecue chips. Yeah, we got some good snacks this year. Last year we were struggling, but this year, we here.
Some snacks.
Yeah. So anyway, to answer your question, it's really important, though, in all seriousness, for us to have the opportunity to have space for us in our own environments in which we can truly be free. Oftentimes, you have conferences, political conferences, and convenings across the country hosted by several different organizations. And we have to have our space in something like a Black Caucus, or it's something in which they have maybe one panel or maybe two panels if we're lucky, or plenary discussions about an issue that is specific for us. But we want it to be intentional in terms of having an entire convening, not a conference, but a convening of Black millennials for us to have a safe space and also learn and educate each other. So whenever you think about the fact that you can bring folks literally from across the country with a wide variety of expertise together to talk about their experiences, talk about ways in which we can empower each other, talk about policy, power, as well as just the different ways in which we can mobilize. It's a beautiful thing.
So let me ask you this.
That was the goal. I'm sorry.
No. So 2020 is right around the corner.
Yes, sir.
And we know that millennials make up the largest voting bloc, and millennials of color.
Right.
So talk to us about the importance then of this time and this convention right now gathering Black millennial voices.
There's no time like it. So I firmly believe that this is eerily similar to 1972 in Gary, Indiana, in which this convention actually derived from.
Right.
The Gary, Indiana Black Political Convention of 1972. And we're having here in our second year the Black Millennial Convention, the Black Millennial Political Convention. There's no better time. Literally, you have all of the a wide range of the presidential candidates sending us either videos or sending surrogates to be here and be represented in some capacity because they recognize and understand our power.
Right.
So now it's up to us to be able to do the same thing. And I think when you ask that question, why is it so important to be here right now? We cannot sell our vote for a chicken box and of a picture on Instagram.
Listen, that's quotable there.
So like you can't sell your vote for a chicken box and then a pic on IG with someone with a cool caption so you can get 100 likes.
Right.
Your vote is worth much more than that. And these candidates are well aware of that.
Right.
So when we put together convenings, thank you, sis. When we put together convenings such as this one, it allows us to understand and go deep down into policy. And we really want to hear what these candidates have to talk about in regards to policy specifically for us. We ain't talking about white folk.
Right.
Much respect to them. We ain't talking about our Latino brothers and sisters, our Latinx brothers and sisters. Much respect and love to them. We ain't talking about our Asian constituents. We're talking about Black millennials. What are you specifically going to do for us? And that's not taboo.
Right.
I think that for a long time, we've been afraid to, I'm not really a fan of this whole calling people of color and so forth.
Right.
Yo, if you Black, like we Black. If I'm Afro-American, if I'm Negro, as my great-grandma would say, none of y'all call me Negro. But I mean, like, let's not be ashamed to identify ourselves. There will be. So we can't be afraid to identify ourselves and then say, what are you specifically going to do for us?
Right.
Not for nobody else. I'm talking about us.
So to this point, right, of like really embracing our Blackness, but not only that, like calling leaders to account to answer our issues, our concerns, the things that matter, right? Like, tell us a little bit about the young people, the millennials, people who are here coming to this convention. Like, what do you think those folks are seeking? Like, where's their primary interest and where are people coming from?
Yeah, what I love about it is that we're not a monolithic group. And let me also let me back up real quick. y'all got some real good mics, because Kristal is standing like 5 feet away.
Right.
I got a podcast. I know how I go. But Kristal was standing way back, and she was just talking regular, and I'm looking at the volume. It just pick up. That was, man.
You're so crazy.
All right, sorry.
So like, wait, that's a quick shout.
Yeah, man.
That is a quick shout out to our chief creative officer, the media maven who makes all things magical,
and co-host every now and then,
co-host,
Alicia.
guest co-host Alicia
She
Renee
tell us how to
Barnett,
live.
There you go.
who is actually back there holding the camera right now.
Man, shout out
operating
to
another
Alicia,
one,
man.
making all the magic
Proud
happen.
of you, Alicia.
Can we all blow kisses to
Yeah.
Alicia?
Yeah.
Mwah.
Alicia says with a smile, "Don't make me come on the other side of that table. 5 minutes is 5 minutes."
Now,
We see you, Alicia.
Now back to the question.
Oh God! So yes, tell us about
No.
the people who are here and what
Yeah.
you think they're seeking.
So again, like I love the fact that we're embracing that we are not a monolithic group. So different people here are looking for different things. I think you have members, brothers and sisters from the LGBTQ community who are looking for something specific from the candidates, and also looking at how, not only from a presidential perspective, what can we take to our state and local communities to effectively have a positive effect on policy. You have folks who are thinking about the wealth gap. You have folks who are thinking about child care and health care. You have people who are still trying to figure out exactly what it is they're looking for. And I think it's important for a candidate, a presidential candidate, to be able to address several issues simultaneously. You need to be able to walk and chew gum at the same time. And then I think it's important for us also to equip our people here. I think it's important to equip our people here to be able to go back into their communities and say, hey, you City Councilman Wes Bellamy, or you State Representative Jewel Jones, I learned about X policy that's taking place in this other state. What can you do to duplicate it? And I'm going to advocate for it. It's also important for us to teach our folks, like we're doing here, this is how you properly go and advocate for a policy change. And we have examples of how you can go and do so. In Charlottesville, a lot of people know we had the equity package that came on the heels of the white supremacist attacks, $4.5 million specifically for underserved communities. I'm not super Negro or Superman, and I'm not any better than any of your other local elected officials. So if I can come up with a $4.5 million equity package, so can they in your city.
Right.
And that's what we're talking about here. In addition to, well, how do we build alliances with each other?
Right.
Why is it important for brothers to be in this room and hear from Planned Parenthood about why we need to be on the front line supporting our sisters, specifically with all these abortion attacks?
Right.
How do we learn more about, the science fields and how that intertwines with policy? And I think people here are looking to get all of that. It's a jam-packed weekend, but I think if you can take some of it back home with you, then it's a win.
And I want to highlight on something you said, because even in the opening remarks, I believe that you were expressing this sense that you hope that people here would collaborate, love each other. It was almost this sense of solidarity.
Oh, yeah.
That, in this hour, we need intersectional models, we need solidarity in order to overcome. Last year, and I felt that same tone last year, can you say that a lot of people that participated last year kind of took that away and brought that kind of back and it's going to be elevated this year?
Definitely. We saw from last year, our inaugural convening, people definitely walk away with this feeling. And we're intentional with we are a family. And you don't have to always agree with your family member.
Right.
Like, that is okay.
But if somebody else come in,
that's
and
you
it's
will
time to scrap.
But we may have an internal discussion.
Right. And like we talked about this morning, you're absolutely right. We handle house business in the house.
Right.
We're not fighting amongst each other in front of everybody
That's
else.
right.
If I got a problem with you, you don't got a tie on, and you don't like my shirt, we can have that discussion
internally. Yep.
We ain't gonna have that discussion out in front of everybody else. And I think that's a part of what we're trying to emphasize here. Also, we're so powerful when we decide to operate as a unit.
Right.
But because we operate as a unit, you can have different people doing different things at the same time as long as we're working towards the same goal. So last year we saw several different coalitions and partnerships grow out of people who met here at BMC. We saw several people decide to run for office.
That's how the Leverage podcast started.
And now you got a podcast.
Right.
Yep.
And like, I think that is beautiful. Not because like y'all are here and you doing it, whatever. But like, we can do this.
Right.
Like, we have the capacity to work together, love each other, and we do it.
That's right.
We do it. Now I think we have to do a better job of highlighting it,
True.
And let's talk about the positive. Let's talk about how we do work with each other and not tear each other down. And I love seeing what y'all are doing. So I'm taking credit for this podcast. Hey, yo, man, no.
Anybody from the other side
Right.
who want to know how to really do it,
Right.
come to BMC.
Right.
But you know what, though, was so real about this, and I love how you keep emphasizing the idea that this is a convening and not a convention, and how it really is about bringing together the sum total, right, all the different parts, because when it comes to actually building power, right, it's not just, like what are the state legislators doing over here? What are the city council people doing? What are the corporate folks? It's really about what is it that we do when we come together to effectively build power, and then leverage that power in a manner that creates some sort of benefit for our communities on the other side of it, right? Because I think a lot of times it's easy for folks to get caught off in their little silo of, oh, this is what I do over here. This is my piece of the puzzle.
Right.
And all they're doing is just like churning in their one area. If you would just stop and say, hey, actually, I feel like what I'm doing in education may somehow be synergistic with what you're doing in criminal justice.
That's right. Yeah. That's right.
Oh, and you know what? I heard that so-and-so at XYZ company has resources that can help fund our effort.
Right.
For real, I got a friend at this, foundation over here who's also having resources that can help the conversation. And if we don't have that level of interaction and understanding of what each other's doing, what is our agenda? I know there's talk about like creating our equity agenda, right? So it's like, what is our agenda? And then how do we pull the lever on each of these component parts in order to move forward? Like, that's what power is. That's what impact looks like.
Yeah. It was interesting because that's kind of the founding even of this podcast, right? You and I, Kristal, we had never met each other before, connected real quickly, and we realized that we had a same passion to make sure that everybody found their inner activist, their inner advocate, and then leverage whatever that superpower was to kind of change this world. So, tell us, who are some of the people that are going to be here speaking on panels, some of the people that are going to have surrogates? You said some of these presidential candidates.
Yeah, it's crazy. So we, no, I mean, like, for
a
me,
year.
For me, yeah.
Do a disclaimer. You can go on ahead and humble brag right now, Wes. I'm going to pat you on the back so you don't do it to yourself. I'm going to go ahead and give it to you.
Here's my shoulder. Could you pat it for me?
I wasn't even thinking about it. No, honestly, what I was thinking about it from in 1 year, just how we've been able to grow and scale up, but also the national influence that we've been able to kind of create, and that's all because we've been working collectively together. I think none of this happens with just me, Leah, Jewel, Audrey. Like, it doesn't happen with just our steering committee members. Like, we don't, and no matter the influence we have, collectively,
not for collective liberation. That's right. That's right.
So I think, like, when you have folks like a Joe Biden, who makes it his mission to send us a surrogate and make a video for BMC. When you have a Kamala Harris, Senator Kamala Harris, call and say, I'm really sorry I couldn't make it. I'm going to make sure that I'm, involved in different capacities.
So at least she called. She didn't just not show up. Right.
No. Yeah.
That's key.
Yeah.
Because there's an acknowledgement of your power, right? The collective power that this is an organization.
Yeah.
We gotta be on their radar.
I mean, Stacey Abrams, we literally just hit her up the other day. And she made a video for us, a quick video. Hey, I wanted to be there. She was trying to rearrange her schedule to come and kick us off. But, like, when you have these individuals, Andrew Gillum, who's coming on Saturday night to be our keynote speaker.
Y'all still have time to come get your tickets, register.
Right. I mean, you have Simone Sanders, who will be here tonight. This is Thursday for the Presidential Forum. You have Angela Rye, who's been a huge help. Without Angela, this wouldn't have happened. So, just some of those names, quote unquote, you can't put a price tag on that. But I think that's one part of it, and those are the bigger names. What I'm more just me personally, what I'm more happy with, though, are the people who are building their names through BMC. So we had a young lady in Grays Court, South Carolina, Shanterica O'Neill, who, because she came to BMC last year, went back home, ran a campaign, just got elected for city council, youngest person
Come
ever.
on here.
right? So
clapping that up, excellent.
Like that to me.
Yeah.
Are the dopest things.
Right.
It ain't just about like you building a name per se. It's
Right.
about the fact that like, word, so what's other people doing X, Y, and Z?
Building a now generation.
Yeah, so I can go and do this. And then when we call each other, like, man, what's going on with this? Or how you do that? Or, when I call different people or they call me and say, hey, can you come here and talk about whatever, or hey man, can you tell me how you did X, Y, and Z?
Right.
That's the most powerful piece of it all, that we work together collectively to empower each other, build up, and make the change. I wouldn't care. I mean, no disrespect to any of the presidential candidates, but like it's cool. Bernie Sanders is making us a video, and
right.
That's great. I love it. But for us,
right,
to build each other,
right,
that's gonna be long lasting.
Yeah,
and I think it'll have. And when history will tell our story 10, 15 years from now, shout out to my guy Sean, Untouchable Shots. When y'all see these documented, pictures,
Sean revolutionized our lives earlier today with this 360 VR technology.
That's what I'm saying.
Y'all go check it out on our pictures, or they should be on Influence.
My whole goal when we wanted to start this, when I first sent out the tweet was, man, I wish in 30 years, or 40 years rather, the same way that I did, I'm looking up online the Black Political Convention of 1972. In 30 years, someone will look back and see what we did.
Yeah.
And they're like, we need to do that.
Now,
hopefully it's continuing.
Now, wait a minute, we can't gloss over that. You said you started with a tweet.
Literally.
So you ain't have no executive board. You
No,
ain't have
no.
let's call together the church meeting and sit in the agenda. It started with a tweet, which
Literally.
means anyone can do this.
Yeah.
As long as they got a passion, as long as they got a little bit of a vision, find you some people.
And follow through.
Right, come on here,
you can't just end it with the vision. You can't
Right.
just end it with the idea. It's like one of the things that Wes has been great at is like not only having follow through, but pulling in other people.
Right.
Who can also go along on the journey. You know what I'm saying?
Collaborations.
Right. It's all about lasting collaboration with people who are about the work. Like
Right.
it's not about the let's just be flashy and be out here. Like that comes. Wes says he gonna come through dripping,
Right.
bringing all the swag.
There you
know
go.
what I'm saying?
Here we go.
But,
That's the petty twin.
the work happens first.
Yeah.
Right.
The work is what's central, and that's what ultimately binds everybody who's in this journey with you.
Well, I think it's easier to do so when you can recognize you don't know everything.
Right.
But that's a learned
Come
trait.
on.
That's a learned trait. And I think, like you clap on that, but in all seriousness, I think part of me says we have to be patient with some of our younger folks.
Correct.
Even the ones in our age demographic, because that's a learned behavior. Like, you have to learn that you don't know everything, and there are other people who have different levels of expertise than you and can help you in different ways. So, I have our co-chair who really I get all the West started BMC whatever, but Leah,
Yes, Leah.
she just walked in there.
We're gonna shout her out in her absence, but she's gonna be on.
But literally none of this happens without Leah.
Right.
You know what I mean? And like one of the first things that I did when we were putting together this steering committee was contact Leah.
Right.
Because I knew that she was absolutely phenomenal when it comes to logistics and planning. And we have a star-studded steering committee, Wykenia Clinton, who is now a senior advisor for the DNC.
Right.
Jewel Jones, who at the time was the youngest black elected official in the country.
Yep.
So we're not on this whole like it has to be my way or like it's my show. When we have our calls, we not like that. Like really, I fall in line. I oftentimes get the final say, quote unquote, but I fall in line. Like whatever the crew wants, that's what I'm with.
So like as you're here listing off all the epic people,
Mike Reed.
Mike Reed.
From the Hill. Look,
from the Hill, man.
We Hill alumni.
Listen, Mike Reed.
You come on and you take my
is
spot.
like,
Love
okay,
y'all.
I know. Thank you.
I gotta run.
Thank you, Wes.
I know. We just say hi.
Look.
Say hi
Hey, black people.
to the
Hey,
people because we love you.
What's
Was
going on,
with
y'all?
Bonnie Watson Coleman.
Actually, I'm with
And
Eric.
now with Eric
Eric
Swalwell, the
Swalwell.
Chief of Staff,
Yes.
Black Excellence.
We just have to do a shout out because like we're
Absolutely.
talking about just the power, this energy, this moment of like not only the Black Millennial Convention, but just about aligning Black people around like a common agenda and being able to impact stuff. So Wes was doing a shout out to like all the people who were helping him assemble this vision, and I was like, wait, Mike can't be not in the mix because you're
working
doing
with
so
black
much
staff
amazing
for
work.
years on the Hill,
absolutely.
helping people come up the pipeline.
So we just had to say hi to you.
I appreciate that.
We know you're busy.
And I look forward to having Eric be here to speak to his agenda and what he's looking for in 2020.
Yeah.
As it relates to black people and black young people in particular.
Awesome.
Well, we feel a little more comforted that you are in the boat here because we know you. Michael is kinfolk here. So we.
Absolutely. I'll see y'all too.
Thank you
I
so
appreciate
much.
it.
Good
Take
to
care,
see you
guys.
always.
You too.
All right, so
I mean, twin, this is
Listen,
what happens,
this is
right?
what
At
happens
Black Millennial Political
at the Black
Convention.
Millennial.
You never know who's going to stop by this table.
everybody gonna stop.
It's more
through.
because you're famous and everybody wants to be in on your star power, your
I think
celebrity.
it's really because you fashionable and everybody trying to figure out what they got to do to
This
get this
old
kind
thing,
of wardrobe.
this old thing
what
right
they got to
here.
do to get this set up.
Look, Alicia, did you get in on this fast? This old thing.
This setup. So listen, we're gonna be here recording, talking about lots of stuff, but you know
Right.
we're gonna have to rap.
We
because
are.
our mics are about to get knocked over
That's right.
by somebody who shall remain nameless, but we just gonna stare at her real hard.
I'm not, because if Alicia stare back at me, I'm going to be hurt. So we going to hit y'all with what's trending when we come back.
You're listening to Leverage, the podcast about power, politics, and influence. I'm Kristal Taylor.
And I'm Breon Wells.